There is life even 500 meters below the entire ice sheet of Antarctica, where sunlight has never reached. In that world of eternal darkness, some isolated small animals have survived for thousands of years. The entire sheet of ice here extends to a depth of about 5 kilometers. From above, it seems like a white, empty desert, lifeless and silent. But under that white surface, there are all sorts of miraculous things hidden. Mysterious rivers flowing in the opposite direction, lakes wider than cities, active volcanoes, and hidden bubbles of air that are millions of years old are locked in the world's largest freshwater reservoir. And now powerful countries are rising up to take control of this reservoir. China is building new permanent bases and Russia is conducting geological surveys. But what is there under the ice that everyone is so desperate for? What are they really looking for? Today, to find the answer to that question, we have to go down to the mysterious depths of Antarctica's frozen ice. Antarctica is the 5th largest continent in the world in terms of area. Even if the entire United States and Mexico are combined, it will not be equal to it. About 70% of the world's fresh water is contained in the ice sheet of this continent, which is so thick that someone could cover the European Alps under it. It is the coldest, driest and windiest region in the world. In winter, the sun does not rise for months. The temperature can drop to -90 degrees Celsius. And strong storms carry everything in the wind. Yet, even in such a hostile environment, the presence of life has not stopped there. Penguins and seals live in groups on the ice-covered coast. All kinds of fish roam under the sea. Even small animals like microorganisms and shrimp survive in the deep dark water of the ice in some way or another. Yes, nature has spread life everywhere in its own way. The ice of Antarctica is actually a huge library of time. Every year, snow falls here continuously and is pressed down under its own weight and accumulates layer by layer. Just like the annual rings of a tree trunk. Each layer of ice is a silent history of a year. And tiny air bubbles are trapped in that layer, which retain the air sample of that year. Thus, the prehistoric details of the Earth's climate, starting from the ancient atmosphere, are hidden under the frozen ice of Antarctica. Scientists have drilled several kilometers deep and brought up long ice blocks, at the bottom of which the air of about 1.2 million years ago is also trapped. From this information, it has been known when the Sahara Desert was a green forest, when mammoths roamed the earth, and through this, it has been possible to know that the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere was half of today's level. Ice forgets nothing. What I have said so far is only the upper chapter of this continent. If we go deeper, Antarctica will open up to us a more global secret chapter. There are some worlds hidden in the heart of Antarctica that are beyond human imagination. There is an entire water world under the ice. Thousands of hidden rivers and lakes are spread like a net in the depths of Antarctica. Some of the boundaries are larger than the city. They have survived without sunlight for millions of years. When suddenly all the water in the river changes its course and flows quickly to another place, the ice above it rises up to several meters. As if something moved inside the ice. Sometimes this hidden world reveals itself by breaking through the ice. For example, the mysterious dark red waterfall that comes out of the Teller Glacier is called Blood Falls. At first glance, it seemed as if blood was flowing from the body of ice. Later, scientists realized that it was actually ancient salt water trapped hundreds of meters below the ice, in which a lot of iron was mixed. On the way up the ice, the air got into the ice and the iron oxidized and the water took on a red color and turned into a purple color. And this red waterfall proves that the nutrient-rich water under the ice reaches the sea and circulates the entire environment. For example, the iron and nutrients in that water nourish the tiny algae in the sea. Countless krill, or shrimp, survive by eating that algae. And the world's largest animal, the blue whale, depends on krill for its survival. Once, blue whales were almost extinct in Antarctic waters due to constant hunting by humans. Today, they are slowly reviving. But how they can survive in the changing ocean is still a mystery. Now let's dive deeper. Far below the ice, there is a vast channel called the krill, which has been frozen in ice for millions of years without sunlight. Scientists believe that its waters may contain life that has not been seen anywhere else on Earth. In addition to the krill, there are more than 700 glacial lakes under Antarctica, and scientists have already found traces of bacteria and microorganisms by drilling into a small part of it. Even small shrimp-like creatures that swim in dark water far from sunlight have been seen in the locked samples taken from the bottom of the ice. All this shows how deep and in what hostile environments life can hide. So scientists think that there may be such life under the ice-covered moons of Jupiter or Saturn. Now we have reached the actual land of Antarctica. Let's remove the ice layer and explore the real underground of Antarctica. Because it is covered in ice, it was not known until now that there are huge mountains and valleys under it, which are a world-class sight. The gambers of the mountains are as high as the Alps in Europe. Denman Canyon is the deepest canyon in the world, about 3.5 kilometers deep, but it was completely hidden behind the ice. Moreover, one after another dormant volcanoes have been discovered under the ice in the western part, which do not erupt, but are constantly melting the ice from below. The fossils found in the rock layers tell us that this icy country was once a green land millions of years ago when Antarctica was part of the Gondwana continent. At that time, dense forests, rivers and animal settlements were here. Over time, this continent has moved to the South Pole and been covered in frozen ice. But the traces of that lost world still remain in the fossils and soil. This is the invisible treasure of Antarctica, for which the powerful countries of the world are now trying to strategically position themselves. Because geologists think that there may be reserves of coal, oil, gas and rare minerals under Antarctica, as abundant as in South America, Africa and Australia. The value of which could be trillions of dollars. But now these resources are sleeping in eternal ice. Because in the 1959 agreement, Antarctica was made an area dedicated only to peace and scientific research. Mining or military activities are still prohibited here. However, the opportunity to review this agreement for the first time will come in 2048. If the ban is lifted then, a new competition for resources will begin on the ice. But even then, Russia is already searching for oil and gas by conducting geological surveys. China is increasing its presence by